I never thought it would end like this. Not with silence. Not with betrayal. For years, I truly believed my marriage was built on something strong. Something real. We had weathered storms, built a life together, shared dreams and secrets. She wasn't just my wife. She was the person I thought would always be in my corner. So when she looked me in the eye one evening and confessed to cheating, something inside me just stopped. I didn't react at first. I couldn't. I kept thinking maybe I had misheard her, or that there was some explanation coming next, some expression of guilt, some desperate apology. But no. Instead, she looked at me with a strange calmness, as if she had rehearsed the whole thing, and said, "You need to be more open-minded. Let me live the way I want." Those words didn't just sting. They echoed. They twisted in my chest like a knife. She wasn't sorry. She wanted permission. She expected me to stay and accept it like nothing had changed. Like our vows were optional. I felt disrespected, discarded, like none of it had ever really mattered to her. For days I was hollow. The betrayal kept replaying in my head. But as the initial shock faded, a sharper feeling began to settle in, resolve. Maybe it was anger, maybe survival. But something in me knew I couldn't be the man who just stood there, holding the pieces while she walked away unscathed. If she wanted freedom, I'd give her freedom, but not in the way she expected. One name kept floating through my mind during those days, Clara, her sister. We were never close. Clara and my wife had always had a strained relationship, full of old grudges and cold silences. They barely tolerated each other at family events, and I often found myself stuck awkwardly between them. But Clara, she was different. Honest. No masks, no games. She'd always had this quiet strength to her, and even though we never crossed any lines, I'd felt her watching me over the years. Curious, soft, maybe even interested. When the three of us ended up on a planned family trip, one booked long before confession. Tension filled the air from the first moment. The sisters didn't even try to hide their dislike. Everything between them was sharp, clipped, and cold. But Clara and I, we found a rhythm. In the evenings, while my wife disappeared into her room early, Clara and I would talk. Nothing serious at first. Just wine and conversation in the dim light of the living room. But over time, the walls started to lower. She listened when I talked about the wreckage of my marriage. She didn't judge, didn't offer cliches. She was just there, present and kind in a way I hadn't felt in a long time. That night, it was quiet, just soft jazz playing in the background, and the two of us side by side on the couch. The words slowed, and the silences grew heavier. There was a moment, just a glance, but it carried the weight of everything unspoken. When I leaned in to kiss her, I half expected her to stop me, but she didn't. What started as a whisper turned into something impossible to ignore. Messy, raw, honest. It was a collision of guilt, desire, loneliness, and something deeper, validation. Clara saw me, wanted me, made me feel like I mattered again. Word got out sooner than I expected, and my wife, she exploded. Her shock was real. Fury, disbelief, jealousy all tangled together. For the first time, she was the one blindsided. Clara, the sister she had pushed aside for years, was now the one holding the pieces she thought she could throw away. It wasn't easy. Clara and I had to keep things quiet. Every step forward meant walking a tightrope between secrecy and fallout. But each stolen moment, each glance that meant something, reminded me of who I was before betrayal, before I let someone convince me that my pain didn't matter. When the trip ended, nothing felt the same. The tension at home was unbearable. The sisters barely acknowledged each other, and every room felt heavy with unspoken rage and broken loyalty. But for me, something had shifted. I wasn't just surviving anymore. I was reclaiming myself. I'm not claiming to be proud of how everything unfolded. I'm not sure if what I did was right. But I know this. After being told to accept betrayal like it was normal, choosing Clara was my way of refusing to stay broken. It was messy, yes, but it was also real. In a strange way, it was healing. Sometimes, when someone shows you who they really are, the only thing left to do is rewrite the rules they try to bind you with. That's what I did, and I've never looked back.